Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Build Your Copywriting Business podcast. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. So as always, I am joined by my fabulous co-host, Ms. Kate Kosydar. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing again, another fabulous Kate Kosydar. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Now as I said, we have interviewed you previously because you had such a great story and we wanted to dig into that. But since then, things have, I don't want to say blown up because that always has in my head, it has such a negative term, but things have scaled to a really, really fantastic place for you. And we wanted to update everybody with what's going on. So we'll put a link in the show notes to the previous interview, but in a nutshell, it's going to be a big nutshell, hard to cram stuff in there, but in a nutshell, what's your story been kind of until now?
Great. Yeah. So I was a nonprofit. I worked in the nonprofit space for about a decade after college. Lots of different jobs inside of that space, but did lots of different things. And then in 2019, I was like, well, I would like to no longer do this because my family was kind of, we were growing. I had 4 kids by that time, and we had like student loan debt and all this other stuff, car debt, all the things that you accrue as an adult. And it turns out that at least the nonprofit field I was in doesn't pay very well. So, and I was trying to find a different position that would be more fulfilling inside of the nonprofit world, but everything would have been kind of like a lateral step in terms of salary. So I started really thinking about, well, what are my gifts? And of course, as it will surprise no one, writing was always kind of at the top of that. And long story short, I finally found Nicki and the Philly Rich Writer training and started the CCA, and then was able to be a student coach inside that group for a period of time. And now I am still doing that thing.
Surprise! She's still a copywriter.
I'm still a copywriter. So from 2019 to today, so that's I think 3 years almost exactly. June 20th is the anniversary of when I set up my business license in my state. And I guess the highlight is that June of 2022, so last month as of this recording, is I had so close to a 10K month. I could taste it. It was not exactly, it was I think I got around 9,700 in paid invoices in that month alone. So that's been pretty exciting. Yeah.
It is pretty exciting. Well, and
not to mention, that was part-time, right?
Oh, yes, part-time. That's true. I forget. Yes, thank you. You even reminded me to mention that. But yes, so I work, I have a babysitter over the summer from 10 to 2. So it's not very many hours.
Yeah.
And it does feel, I do bleed into a little bit. I don't have very strict hours, but those are my, I max out usually at 20 hours a week. And I try really hard not to work over the weekend. So so it is a big accomplishment. It feels sometimes like when you're in the day-to-day, you're just, I don't want to say the grind, but you're just kind of going forward, doing the thing, writing completing the projects. But when you look back, when your coaches make you look back and say how far you've come, it does seem pretty incredible that this is where I am today. So, yeah.
It is incredible.
Congratulations.
It is. Yeah.
That's
congratulations.
Unbelievable.
That's terrific. Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say it's unbelievable. It's very believable. We know you. You did the work. It's believable, but it's still quite an achievement.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. It's hard work. It's not been obviously a walk in the park or anything like that, but I would not say that I'm a particularly motivated person And I guess that was the other part that I wanted to bring up during this conversation is over the winter. So like in January, my kids started getting diagnosed with ADHD. And as that started happening, and I'm like looking at these questionnaires, like what they struggle with, and I'm like, oh, I struggle with all these same things. So I also now have an ADHD diagnosis. And so I'm being treated for that. And it's I don't think it's a coincidence that June being my almost 10K month was the month I started medication. So just the fact that, I have all these good ideas, and I think that's like an overlooked strength of, it's not really a disorder, but like the ADHD as like a condition, is that creativity. And where I've always gotten stuck is kind of like moving forward and doing the thing now that I've had the idea. So obviously I've done enough of the ideas to be successful. So I'm kind of excited now so since then I've also I just decided one day I was going to do a course. And so I just did it. Actually last week I recorded all the live sessions for it. And anyway, yes. So there's a lot of hard work involved is the point. And it's just that taking action. And even if you're taking a little bit of action, you can get pretty far.
Yeah. Well, and, I want to make sure that we don't gloss over the fact that you scaled to, yes, June is the first month that you were on medication, but you spent 3 years scaling to that point and landing clients and doing work with an undiagnosed, with ADHD undiagnosed, and you're still doing all of that work. I think that's a major credit to you.
Thank you. Yes, it is kind of, it's hard to believe. And, sometimes, because I'm still in this new phase of understanding the diagnosis and how it has kind of impacted my life over the last 39 years. And it does make me sometimes I think oh, how much could I have accomplished if how much has it stunted, just the fact that it was unacknowledged, undiagnosed, untreated. But then I'm like, well, wait, I did do a lot. I was still a very, accomplished person, and not that my worth is tied up in those accomplishments at all, but it's nice to know that I was able to do stuff, and it's just exciting. I'm trying to choose to look at that excitement of the things that are to come because of treatment, really, and just being able to manage symptoms better.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I want to add too, as I thought about it, we're like, you work part-time. This woman is a full-time parent and full-time many other things. So I think it does a disservice to say you're working part-time. Copywriting part-time. Yes. Copywriting part-time.
Yeah. It's not just sitting around and eating bonbons the rest of the time.
Exactly. She is a busy woman.
I wish. Yeah. And I think, I'm starting to look at my career as a copywriter a little bit differently. And I'm starting to shift how I manage my time. And now that I feel so established, I am so established, I guess, in what I'm doing, I'm able to start looking at things like outsourcing and getting help for those little things that I don't need to be worrying about. So I don't know. I still haven't done it, but everyone, I always think of the house cleaning part. But luckily I have 4 little elves that live with me. So I just kind of make them help me with it, and that's fine. So we're looking into getting a nanny to watch the kids after school in the school year, which will just give me, even if it's another 2 hours a day, I'm just so excited about all the things I can accomplish if there's someone else giving them snack and just taking care of them. And then I still have all evening with them. So it's just, I'm just so excited about my career. And it just feels like such a, I don't know, such a blessing, I guess, to be that excited and to be, I don't know, more than fairly compensated, shall we say. I do make my clients a lot of money, so.
Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, and talking about outsourcing, you are a member of CCA Next Level or Mastermind program.
Oh, yeah.
And you've taken some of the trainings in there and really run with them, including you have a virtual assistant, right?
Yes. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing I outsourced. Oh my gosh.
Look at the joy. I love this.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah. So this has been like a whole process. When I started thinking about, the next level, first of all, like fantastic. Any co-students out there, when you're ready, definitely join it. It is so helpful. But one of the first trainings I watched was about like starting to outsource. And I was just like, what would a VA do? Like, and I'm like listing out all the things I do for my business. And I'm like, no, I have to send my invoices. Nope, I have to send nope, I have to. And I just was like, so honestly, I was like, well, I just need someone to help me input systems. So if I can just find like a short-term, like 3-month VA to set up my systems. I realized that I had grown to the point where I needed a client management tool and like workflows and kind of things like that, just to like take some of the stress off of thinking of emails all the time. But these are all things that you have to pay for, right? So it's nothing that I had focused on early in my career. So it was just like, as I was kind of growing, it was like, okay, well, I have the resources now to get that digital help, but let me just hire someone to set up that digital help because I'm a little lost. Systems are not my forte, shall we say. So I just hired her for 3 months, and then we were talking, and I was like, well, let's just keep going. So now she sends my invoices. She like, I do some things on the front end to set up the client, and then she just makes sure all my invoices are paid, and she chases things down I don't even know. She's a genius, amazing. And I only have her for 10 hours a month, which is fine. So it's not like a huge, commitment, I guess. But at the same time, so helpful. And I'm still learning to let go. I think I was sharing in Next Level that my VA, like the second month or something, she was like, you're not using all the 10 hours. She was like, what do you need me to do? You need to like, let me do stuff. I noticed that you keep going in and doing stuff that you've told me to do, and I need you to stop. So basically my VA like cut me down. Like, so I've been like slowly letting go of that control, while maintaining, like, I still oversee everything, but it's revolutionary. Things happen in my sleep now that I don't even have to worry about.
So awesome.
So good.
Yeah, but it's a new, it sounds kind of funny to be like, oh, well, taking on assistant is a new challenge in a new different way, but it's taking you into it. It's taking you into the next level of your career and who you have to be at that next level. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm very privileged to be working with a junior copywriter as well to kind of, and she's great because she does sort of I handed off the projects that were lucrative enough to like keep on, but I was kind of bored with them. I didn't really want to do them anymore. So I was like, well, if I hire, she like writes a very solid first draft, and then I clean it up. And for those clients, I actually like put them into the email software. They were one of my first clients. So I've been with them for over 3 years now. So anyway, and so it's great to be able to grow as a copywriter, but still like maintain these relationships with these clients that I really do love, but I don't know, my ADHD brain, I get bored. So I need a new challenge.
Well, and the cool thing then too, is that you end up providing work for other copywriters. And the more that you grow, the more that you can spread other opportunities to which is again, more outsourcing, but the more that you grow, the more that you can create opportunities for other people, which is just fantastic.
So cool.
Yeah. Were there any challenges there that you found, or anything, I know you went through the training and next level and all that kind of stuff, but was there anything that you were surprised by, or?
In terms of hiring, I mean, I am not, one of my past roles, I was the director of a nonprofit, and it's just like that management space is not my favorite. I don't thrive in that environment. So there is a learning curve in terms of, or I've experienced a learning curve in terms of, with my beloved junior copywriter, Lindsay, the learning curve there is like giving feedback versus just like fixing it myself, if that sort of makes sense. And also like learning to give clearer directions, I think it has been really key, because it's funny how many things like live in my brain and just like, this is just how I do them. And it was, for some reason, a surprise that other people's brains don't work exactly like mine. Like, so weird.
Wouldn't it be so much easier if they all worked the same?
It would be, no, that'd be a mess. My brain is very crowded. Nobody wants that. But yeah, so like the value of the creative brief. And because I've been with this client for so long, I realized that in writing the creative brief for her, there were some things that were in my head that did not make it onto that brief. So, but I think that's allowed me to grow also just in terms of my own client relationships, because it's even more apparent to me now what I need to ask to get the right information. So the experience with Lindsay, making sure I'm communicating everything, means that with new clients that are, maybe a little more complicated than that client, I'm asking better questions and kind of like coming to that through the experience of there's some stuff living up there that is not coming out. Yeah. Anyway, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And I wanted to ask too, because I know you said earlier about you decided to do a course, and by do a course, folks, she means she created a course that she gave to clients. So talk to us more about that and how it went, because it just happened.
Sure. Yeah. So I don't have a niche because again, I would be bored. And, but what I found is that I really have a soft spot for really new business owners, like who kind of have this idea, they're launching this thing. It's really hard. They're dealing with a bunch of conflicting information on the internet. They don't know how to write copy. And I've had so many conversations with potential clients that were in that spot of like, I'm not really making any money right now, but like, if I had a good website, I would be making money, but I can't afford to have help for the website. So I just kind of like developed this soft spot for that audience, that type of person. And so I decided I wanted to create a course. And it's not like teaching them copywriting per se, but it's like we went through like your traditional 5-page website, and each day we talked about a different page, and I kind of walked them through how to think about their writing and what copy would be appropriate on each page. And so it was just really great. I think that it's definitely a learning curve. I didn't have, I had a pretty strong, like 6 people paid for it. 4 people showed up to it, which I feel like was a huge win. And my goal had been 8 paid, but I feel like I got close enough. And the thing is that we got to talk through, and we had like all these conversations, like it was live. So I was just like working with them. And we had like each page each day. And what my plan is now is like, it was so scattered because I didn't really plan anything. I like hopped on and I was like, hey, but I like know my craft so well. And it was just like a beta test. I didn't really know what questions people would have, like where they would find value. So these, 4 people who actually attended really taught me a lot about that whole process. And so my plan now is that I'm gonna go through and like actually create a cohesive, concise, making sure to hit all the points we hit in the conversation in like an evergreen product, so that I can serve those people who just can't afford a website at this time. And then like kind of like working with them. Anyway, I have big dreams, guys. Like
I love it.
I could go on.
Good.
You want to tell us about more dreams? Please go on if you want to go on. Yeah.
So like I want to do like a couple of different courses, like that website is like in the works, and then like maybe do a funnel course or something like that, or like how to write a lead gen. And what I want to do is build a membership community where people who are in this space can pay a very nominal fee to have access to those courses and have that interaction with each other and with me. And I would see myself in that role as like the coach of the group. So I'm like, and I really love coaching so much. I love like just like getting on a call with somebody and like talking through the challenges. And I can do that for copy, but I can also do it because I also started my own business and I know how pitching works. And I know, I can talk through like different possibilities for people in all kinds of industries. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm like starting my Instagram account is like slowly
following. You're doing some great reels.
I also have a social media manager. So don't be like, yes, I guess I'm doing them, but the ideas are, I have help with that too. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the number of things that are possible.
Yeah.
When you just like allow the possibilities to flow and like take action is the thing. Because once I took action on this course, which I was like I said, it started on a Monday morning. It was 30 minutes before the meeting started. And I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like I spent all this time like trying to coerce people to pay, register. I totally forgot to plan the course. So not totally, but
and also a little reminder, sales is not coercion. You created something incredibly valuable and they were like, hey, I want this.
Yeah, for sure. But that's like, it felt like, I totally get when people are like, well, I don't want to be salesy. And it's tough when it's your own business, right? Like it's so much easier as a copywriter to be like, don't worry, business owner, I got you. Like I can write in your voice and blah, blah, blah. But there's something about doing it for yourself that is, and that's painful. Part of what I was coaching the, these attendees through. Like, you're not having trouble because you're a bad writer or because you don't know what you're doing, or because you don't know the value you're providing. It's just because it's hard. Like you're having a hard time because it's hard. So there are all these things that I should have done before launching that course. I still don't have a sales page for it. Like I got to do that.
Done is better than perfect.
Exactly,
like you said, beta, and now you have more information and you're going to make it better next time. Like that's smart. That's smart.
Yes.
What I love about what you did is that so many copywriters, I think, default to, I'm going to create templates for clients and just sell like a formula that they can write their own copy. What I love is that you're taking them through the strategy and thinking and mindset of it all so that they can write really effective copy for themselves and not just write what someone else wrote via template or whatever.
Yes, for sure. Templates are tough. there's a lot of value, I think, like for somebody who just really has no idea where to start. A template can be almost like a lifesaver, but I find that people get boxed into the templates. And that's what I found through this coaching contract that I have. The lead organization has templates that they use, that their students use. And then I have a contract where I coach the students once a week. And what happens is they like take this suggested copy and they change the words. So like if they're selling a cooking class instead of a, I don't know, social media management class, they just like insert cooking words, and it ends up sounding stilted. It ends up sounding inauthentic. And they just they end up feeling boxed in by that template. So, and also like everything is so different. Like every client is different. Every industry is different. I don't really understand. I mean, I don't think I could write a template. That wouldn't make any sense for somebody to follow. So I've really appreciated the back and forth of the coaching.
Yeah.
Well, and everybody's business is different. What they're trying to get someone to do with an email is different. It's what their tone is different, and plus the thing is too, what I like about the fact that, or not what I like, but what I admire about what you put together for your students is that, you give somebody a template, and first of all, the implication is like, just use this template and you're good. And then you'll be successful. And that's not the truth at all. I mean, is it better than not sending an email? Maybe
could also
not.
hurt. Yeah.
Maybe not. But they also don't understand why different elements are in that email, why you're telling them to do this, or why this is whereas what you're teaching them is the whys, is why you do all of that, why you say these kinds of things to your students, why to your potential purchasers, why you, take them to this step, why you include this information. And that, first of all, it's going to be great for their websites. It will be very helpful, but it also makes them better potential clients or better future clients. Once they're making a little bit of cash, they're going to be so much better able to collaborate with, if it's you, or if it's another copywriter, they're going to be so much better able to collaborate with them and understand what they want to get out of their copy. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many, like they know what they want to do in the world, and they know like what that impact is. But a lot of times they're so stuck, like especially new business owners, they're so stuck in the like the how to, and like and also like that little bit of like not panic, but like, can I actually that when you're not confident,
the self-doubt,
and I actually like, this is still
the imposter syndrome.
That it's really hard to separate and like step back far enough so that the words you're writing are truly going to resonate with the people. And so like being able to have those conversations and help them, like challenge them to really think through what is their, like the person who's reading this, where are they coming from, like emotionally as well as physically, like how do they navigate to that spot? And then and I found like a lot of people just like totally over explain or completely under explain because they haven't even thought where the person is coming from. How did they click to that? So anyway, it is fascinating to have this group of people to help me process, because so many of these things have become automatic in the 3 years that I've been doing this, that now pulling it out and being asked to explain it, it's been a really powerful experience for me to develop as a copywriter as well. Yeah. Something about that teaching, Nicki.
It's a lot of fun. It is. It's fun to do, and it's fun to see fun to see your students grow and to see where they go with it and to celebrate with them their incredible wins.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm right there with you. It's amazing. It is an absolute joy. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's
Definitely props to the two of you. I think I said it in the
wow.
last podcast, and I should definitely say it here. There's no way on God's green earth I would be where I am right now if it weren't for you two. I tried another copywriting course. If you remember, I tried.
I don't know that we need.
We're not going to name it.
Nope.
But don't buy any other one. Just get this one. It's like
It's very sweet.
I also tried a different mastermind other than Next Level before Next Level was.
I was going to say it didn't exist yet. In fairness, we don't fault you.
Yeah. So I tried another one and I was like, this is super expensive and I am not getting anything out of it. And so anyway, just everything you do is so quality. And anyway, I'm going to start gushing in a minute, but I really do credit your mentorship and encouragement. I think I know I did the work for it, but
yeah, you did.
It's just the encouragement and like being able to see what's possible from people in different parts of their career has just been phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
You are so welcome. But yes, I know Kate and I will jump right back in and say, look, you did the work. You did it. And where you've gotten
with
to
four kids, where
you've gotten to is amazing. And where you continue to grow. And actually I was just thinking, if you could like go back and talk to Kate Kosydar from 3 years ago, who's just getting started, what would you say to her?
A different human being.
Yes, yeah. Right? What would you say?
Oh man. I think I would tell her to tell her how much easier it will be when you shift your mindset. And I would also tell her to go get tested for ADHD. But a lot of my mindset when I first started was very, like I want things to be easy. And I think that might be like a somewhat human trait. But for me, it's something that I struggle with. When something gets hard, then I'm very prone to like, unless it's super rewarding and enjoyable, I'm prone to just like give it up. Oh wait, I have ADHD. Sorry, everyone. Just connected that right now. But anyway, so the mindset of when it's hard, that's part of what makes it worth it, right? Things that come easily are typically like, they're just not as rewarding, I guess. I don't know. There's something about looking back and saying like, look, I went through that slog and I got a lot stronger. I'm thinking like analogies like working out or whatever. And like that hour you're at the gym is terrible. I started with a personal trainer too. I outsourced that. Someone helped me learn to build my muscle. But anyway, so like that hour in the gym is miserable. I kind of hate 90% of the seconds there. Like, and, but like at some point you're like, wrestling with your 13-year-old son who's now as tall as you. And you're like, I can take you, like whatever. And so it's something that's like worth it. And so yes, I would tell, this is way off tangenty, but I would tell 3 years ago, Kate, to embrace the challenge rather than whine and want it to be easier. I remember do you remember those coaching days, Kate?
I do. I do. That's why I say you're a completely different person. And the best part, you were a great person. Fundamentally, you have not changed, but just confidence, mindset, everything you're talking about. It's just been incredible to see that shift.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, Kate Kosydar called Kate Sitars, and I had a 4-week coaching package with her. And I was just like, tell me if this is good or not. I have no idea. And Kate was just
great.
Yeah, it's good. Just send it. And I'm like, but what if they say no? And she's like, well, they'll say no. And then you'll send another pitch. And they're like, but I know it's so hard.
That's not how I remember you, but I love that that's how you remember you.
God, I wish we'd recorded those calls.
I know. I wish
we could watch that. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been the internal dialogue.
I think that's the internal. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it
Thank
felt
you
like
for
that.
ma'am.
Well, I think that's such a great point that it's hard to understand until you have been through it. But each new little challenge makes each next challenge that much easier to overcome and that much easier to go, okay, all right, this looks like it might be something that's challenging, but I did that last thing and I did it. I was a little nervous about it, but I did it. And so each one, I mean, the idea of that Kate Kosydar who's on that phone call, outsourcing to or basically creating essentially a tiny agency, a tiny small agency, and also outsourcing to a virtual assistant and all that, you know, I would guess that Kate Kosydar would have been like, oh my gosh, that's so hard, or creating a course that's so hard, but overcoming each, you know, little challenge of, putting up a website. Okay. Coming up with my USP. Okay. Writing my first pitch. Sending, as we as humans overcome each new challenge, it makes it that much easier to just jump in when the next one comes up. And
well, especially you say slog, and I get like, it feels like it is a slog, but like, I think of old Kate 3 years ago, Kate Kosydar, that wouldn't be that's not a slog now, right? Like pitching's not a slog for you because that's old hat. So I feel like these slogs are temporary, right? Like they become just part of what we do, or become good at that slog that is
exactly. Yeah, which is part of why going through the slog is rewarding, right? Because then you get to grow your business easily because you've done the work to learn how to do that part well. And yes, something else becomes hard. For those fellow parents out there, like every stage of raising a child is terrible and awful, but then you look back and you're like, oh, okay, well, we got through that hard thing. We can get through this hard thing too, right? So I have like teenagers, and I have like a kindergartner and second grader, and like they're like completely different, and it's fine. And I'm like, okay, but I got the teenagers to the teenagerhood. So I kind of like see that like my business. So I don't know what stage my business is in now, but
is it a teen yet?
Probably the teen stage, because I'm like,
it's a little moody,
rebelling against, I don't know what I mean. That analogy broke down.
Well, and one thing I wanted to ask too, when we talk about the slog and the idea of the getting to the point where you're sending your pitches, is it a physical slog, as in like it's hard to send these pitches, it's hard to hit that button, or is it a mental slog?
Good question.
That is a good question. It's definitely, I'll be honest, for me, it was more an emotional slog. Like that, oh shoot, I just made another ADHD connection. These are coming up for me a lot every time I like analyze anything. But for me, it's like that fear of rejection is very visceral. And so even like a non-response is, it's felt like this emotional, like, whoa. And so that's how I experienced the slog, just being very emotionally draining, which in turn becomes physically draining, like dealing with all the other stuff and, raising kids and paying bills and all those things put together. So yeah. And I think it's different for all of us, right? To a certain extent, we may all go through the slog, but we all experience it a little bit differently. But to your point, Nicki, about like the mechanics of it are not that hard to write the words of, I have this great idea and I would really like to help your business grow. Can we talk? But it's like that emotional baggage that I used to carry into every single one. Yeah. And now it's like, I still have a pinch of it, right? Because I am Kate Kosydar, just part of who I am, but and it's not even like I've been rejected that many times that I'm now insensitive to it. But I know that a rejection isn't going to kill me. Like, it's not a rejection of me as a person. It's just saying like, no, I'm rejecting your services. So I'm able to, and that's a bit of a mindset shift also, right?
Yeah. And I asked that because I kind of suspected the answer, but I also know that you are not alone in that. And I think a lot of people listening too are going to resonate with that, because something that we build up in our heads is being like, this is gonna be difficult. When you actually break it down, the actual like writing a pitch, like it might be a little challenging, but it's not difficult. And clicking the button to send an email is not difficult, but we build things up in our mind. We make things mean things emotionally. And, there are obviously things that you can do to work through that, but also as you do that, when you do it and you didn't fall apart, or someone doesn't write back to you and it's still okay, life still goes on, or they write back and say, oh, thanks so much, but we're not interested right now. It makes you that much more emotionally and mentally resilient for the next time you do it, but also for all kinds of different things in our lives.
Oh, 1,000%. I agree with that so much. Like, there's a certain amount of bravery or whatever, or whatever it takes for you, dear listener, that if you just practice it in your business, like, it ends up being applicable to lots of different areas of life. And so it's just like really like growing as a person at the same time as growing as a business owner. And I think that's what why I'm so drawn to that new business owner audience for, the kind of the next phase of my career growth, because like, it's just such a beautiful thing to be able to walk with somebody on that journey of like, yeah, you're growing a business, you're, putting something out there that the world needs. And whether that's you as a copywriter or you're starting any other business. And at the same time, like, you're growing as a person, which means the world is getting like a double whammy of awesome, like your service. And then you as a person, like just showing up in the world in a more complete way. It's awesome.
I love that. A double whammy of awesome. Well, I have to say, I feel like we got more than a double whammy of awesome from you today. Triple, quadruple, quintuple, septuple. I'm going to get lost in the numbers up there, but this has been so, so fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me back on.
And before I forget to ask, if people are listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to either take her course, I want to recommend her course, or I want to hire her to be my copywriter, or I want to follow her, where can people find you?
Well, I am now on Instagram at, I believe my handle is Kate Kosydar Writes. And my website is the stunning www.katekosydar.com.
Fabulous. And we'll put all the links if people are listening and don't have time to write it down. But again, this has been fantastic. And I know Kate and I both can't wait for the next update.
Interview 3.
Exactly. And see where you
are. Yeah.
Next. Absolutely. It's such a pleasure to talk with you, of course, but also to see where you're taking your career. And it's just so wonderful and so inspiring. So thank you again for hopping on a call with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You're the best mentors I've ever had. I appreciate you so much.
Sweet. You're so sweet. And then with that, everybody, we will catch you in the next episode. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.